Good evening and thanks for joining us on News Channel 20. I'm John Hansen.
And I'm Stacy Skryzak. Topping our news tonight, Central Illinois seeing intense winter weather, and winter, it hasn't even started.
I know, can you believe it? It's making a fun start to all this wintry weather. In fact, some spots got as much as 8 inches of snow, and that's making it a little bit more dangerous on those roadways as well as for the home. So watch the weight on your roof. You might have to clear that off if it gets too much. In fact, we've had enough snow to actually break a record that stood for nearly 70 years. It was in 1951. The record was set at 9.2 inches of snow. The new record in 2018, 9.4 inches. Now, a big chunk of that actually came yesterday here in the capital city, where we saw 5 inches fall in a single day. And of course, this is just the beginning as well. Forecasts are showing there's even more snow possible this weekend, so keep your eye on the sky. And of course, we're not alone in the nasty weather. Look at this video of the heavy snow that was falling in St. Louis. Now, fortunately, these people just making the best of it, grabbing their sleds and even a snowboard, jumping out there and having fun. Now, eastern parts of the state were under a winter storm warning when this video was taken. That has now been lifted.
Turning to new developments, embattled school board vice president Adam Lopez made a court appearance this morning.
Yeah, his lawyers actually wanted the judge to drop the bond amount, but the judge says he's not going to do it. Now, this is the first time that he set foot in that courtroom since his arrest last week for financial exploitation of the elderly. His lawyer wanted the bond dropped to $500,000, but it will be staying at $1.5 million.
Springfield police arrested Lopez last Wednesday. He's accused of stealing more than $1 million while working as a financial advisor at Country Financial, including more than $500,000 from his own family. Lopez also faces 3 civil lawsuits. He's scheduled to be in court November 26th.
Yeah, police are praising now a good Samaritan who foiled the plans of a would-be robber at a Dairy Queen in Springfield. Officials say that Wyman Allen came into the restaurant, walked up to the clerk, demanded money, and then actually started grabbing things off the counter, throwing them at employees and throwing them around the store. Well, that's when a good Samaritan saw what was going on, stepped in, jumped on him, and held him to the ground until police got there. Wyman is now facing charges for aggravated robbery and criminal damage to the restaurant. And a Kincaid man is now behind bars accused of sexually abusing a minor. Police arrested Mark Zeppin on Friday night. The 73-year-old is now charged with aggravated criminal sexual abuse of a minor. He's in the Christian County Jail on $400,000 bond.
A woman faces charges for making harassing phone calls to Illinois senators. Authorities say Jura Perkins called Senators Dick Durbin and Tammy Duckworth more than 200 times over a 5-month period. She's charged with repeated harassing communications.
And around the state now, an Illinois state trooper is actually resigning after soliciting a woman for sex. Leonard Kirkpatrick pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor solicitation of a sex act. In return for that plea, he has to now quit his job and then pay a $500 fine.
In northern Illinois, a dispute of whether police officers told a nightclub security guard to drop his weapon before they shot him. The police report says the officer did tell Jamel Robertson to drop his gun, but witnesses say they did not hear it. It happened last week in Robbins while Robertson was detaining a man suspected of a bar shooting. Robertson's family attorney says, warning or not, he was dressed as a security guard. And
Saudi prosecutors are saying that they want the death penalty for 5 people that are accused of murdering journalist Jamal Khashoggi. A total of 11 people are now facing charges in Khashoggi's death. Prosecutors say that the 5 people facing the capital punishment were directly involved in the killing. Saudi authorities say that the murderers used a sedative to kill Khashoggi after a fight at the Saudi Arabian embassy in Turkey. And the trial for the mail bomb suspect is now set for July 2019. Cesar Sayoc is the man that investigators say mailed at least 16 bombs around the country to former presidential candidates and family members, including the Obamas and the Clintons. Now, during his arraignment in federal court today, Sayoc's attorney entered a not guilty plea. He's facing at least 5 different federal charges and is set to be back in court in February.
Inside the State House, the first week of the fall veto session is now wrapped up at the State House. In the past 2 days, the Senate voted to override several vetoes. Among them, a bill to put more regulations in place for car and ride-sharing companies, putting them on par with car rental companies. The Senate also voted to override a bill that would increase the limit of damage awards on lawsuits against the state. The legislation would raise the limit from $100,000 to $2 million.
Well, here, speaking of money now, last night's iCash Call-a-thon was a huge success. We were able to connect you with more than $320,000 in unclaimed cash, the largest amount that someone took home last night. a whopping $22,000. I mean, what would you do with that if suddenly you had 22,000 extra bucks hanging around?
You know, the responsible thing is pay bills.
Right,
But
right.
I think I would, yeah, maybe a vacation or new shoes.
Oh,
You know,
absolutely.
I'm the
Something.
stereotypical
You gotta
girl.
treat yourself a little bit, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, coming up, local donations going to save local kids, how you can get involved with HSHS St. John's Radiothon.
Plus, the first wave of the migrant caravan is hitting the U.S. border soon. How does Congress plan to react once they get there? We'll tell you that. And, of course, we'll be tracking road conditions, school closings, and your weather on the newschannel20.com. And remember, you can also get alerts sent right to your phone from the WICS weather app. We'll be right back.